What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to RGN today. Today in Real Gamer history, July 23rd, 1993, Road Rash 2 was released in Japan for the Sega Genesis. Road Rash 2, if you don't know, is a classic. It debuted in the arcade. It's a motorcycle racing game where you also get weapons and attack your opponents. So you get different things like a ball and a chain or a sword and stuff like that. The game has also customization throughout the motorcycle. As you progress to higher tiers, you increase the engine size, you change up your steering acceleration, you customize your weaponry, and then you head out into the races and battle again. It was a 2D game with a 3D pseudo illusion, optical illusion, which took advantage of awesome processing power for the times and was really ahead of its time for the way it worked. And to this day has never been quite replicated with the correct feel. It had a very tactile feel. And if you are watching this video right now, chances are you've heard of Road Rash and you know all about it. Now let's get back to today's video. That's today in Real Gamer history, but today Xbox is making gamer history right now. So let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Today was the craziest Xbox event that we've seen in a long time. First, right off the bat, we were right. Fable got announced. Confirmed. We didn't get to see much of it yet, but there was a cool cinematic trailer that blended in magic with different levels and gave us a little bit of expectation that it's likely going to be a remake of the original. Halo Infinite got a ton of gameplay shown. We got about 9 minutes of gameplay, 4K 60. And it looks like the art style is very classic. Feel like Halo 1, Halo 2 sort of vibes. Then the enemies start getting more and more advanced. That was pretty crazy. There's going to be a grappling hook, a new cinematic trailer showing them hovering above another planet. And then there's a threat from antagonist where he's been waiting for Master Chief. And basically he's going to have a fight to the death, a blood feud with him. So this might be Master Chief's last game. We'll see how that turns out. Avowed. That's right, Avowed. We've got new IP. That's going to be a huge Obsidian RPG. Super excited for that. So Obsidian is working on a lot of games right now. They didn't show very much of it, but they did let us know that there's going to be a Western RPG coming from them called Avowed, and it's going to be fully fledged, full-featured title. That's going to be exclusive to the Xbox, of course, because they're a first-party studio these days. Ori was shown off at 4K 120 Hz. And if you have never played Ori, played the first one, it's amazing, and then the second one just takes it to a whole nother level. It's a really poetic, artistic game, which also has really tight controls, really very well responsive controls for the Xbox controller. It's really a great side-scrolling sort of platformer if you're into the classic style of games with a higher level of storytelling and extremely well hand-drawn art. And it's made by an international team from all over the world that works for Xbox Studios. So that's the first ever 4K 120 Hz video game displayed on consoles. So bravo, congratulations Microsoft for the Xbox Series X. Let's see if PlayStation 5 will have something similar like that to show off the capabilities of their system or not. Tell Me Why, a new IP from Don't Not Entertainment. That's looking like it's shaping up to be very interesting. So there's a tragedy in the family. You can watch the trailer if you want to see what that is exactly. I won't spoil you. But it's a family sort of like how Life is Strange focuses on social issues and interpersonal relationships and different events that happen in life, how that traumatizes people, gives you choices in the game, stuff like that. So this one is called Tell Me Why. It's a new IP from the same company. And it's gonna bring in and introduce some weird elements. So there actually could be more to the story than what you thought originally with those events that took place. Not in Life is Strange, but in this new game. The events that are shown to be taking place in these people's lives, and they have to go back into their lives, into the past, but then they discover that maybe they are not ready for the answers of what is real, what's not real, and what's happening to their family. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is a futuristic dystopian game that looks like it's going to be amazing, and we got the world premiere today from that. There's an underground society going on where they have like experiments going on with humans. Above ground, there's crazy weather, there's storms, there's what seems to be mini black holes just in the middle of the street, and a whole lot of wildlife and nature taking back as humanity's trying to survive. So that's looking like a very interesting game for sure. I love those sci-fi dystopian stories. Warhammer 40k Darktide was also announced, and that looks crazy as well. You end up getting into some catacombs of another underground lab looking area and find what looks like zombie type creatures. I personally am not an expert on Warhammer lore, so you have to let me know what they are. To me it looks like zombies, but I'm sure that in the universe of Warhammer 40,000 there's probably a specific name for those types with the lore and history to them and everything. And Tetris Effect Connected was interesting because Tetris Effect, if you remember, was for PSVR originally, for PlayStation VR. And it's a really cool new take on Tetris, which involves music, timing, and different abstractions like visualization, like we used to have back in the days on computers when you're listening to music and it makes different graphics based on the music, something like that. But now Tetris Effect on the Xbox Series X is going to have special features, which we're going to talk about later in the quick news. But essentially, I want to let you know, it was crazy how they pulled off the trailer, because right now we're in those tough times, right? And they showed off the unity of all different types of gamers. And I thought it was just going to be kind of like a touching moment where they're just like, oh yeah, you know, we're all gamers, we're all one family, and then let's show like a different random game. But no, they actually enclosed it as little blocks, and each person, all different age, gender, variation, any type you can think, all different hair, eye color, everything. And then they were all playing Tetris together, not versus each other, but actually combining the Tetris together to play Tetris Connected. Tetris Effect Connected will be an Xbox console launch exclusive. And Peril Gorgon is for the Outer Worlds. It's a DLC. It's an area that you're going to be able to go to where they say you should trust no one. And that looks really exciting and interesting. It's good that people who are really enjoying the Outer Worlds from Obsidian sort of like reinventing their own Fallout, since they no longer have the rights to Fallout, but a lot of their staff used to work on the original Fallout games. So we're really excited to see them adding on to the story in this new chapter. And 2 more new IPs. That's right, the Gunk. This one we haven't seen before, and it looks crazy. It's a colorful game. It's a colorful world you land on, but there's good and there's bad to it. There's strange life on this planet, a lot of fungi, and then there's some strange gunk where monsters sort of seem to come out of it. And we don't know a lot about this game, but I'm always excited about space and planet exploration and things which seem alien. It seems like a whole different world to you. So it's like an artist's abstract version of reality. And that way, just in case, to take a new look at how reality works by going and living in this virtual reality where there's a whole different set of laws of physics perhaps, and a whole different art style, so everything looks cartoonish, but there's also monsters, and seems to be fun. And that does bring us into the other new IP, which is The Medium. We have seen before, but a world premiere trailer for it was debuted at this show.
Every story has 2 sides. A regular, rational one, but also a darker and deeper truth. Not unlike a nightmare. I can see both. Worse, I can live them.
And that's a game in which 2 worlds are simultaneously being rendered. You will actually be able to hear things that are going on from the monsters from the other parallel dimension, or other world, however you want to call it. And you'll be exploring into a real world, and then all of a sudden you'll be able to switch back and forth, and sometimes they'll try to reach into your world. So they're actually rendering both of them at the same time, so there's instantly switching, no loading or hanging or hitching or whatever you're going to call it. So that's really exciting, and we've got a lot of interesting things coming up with this event. We're going to give you all more details in the quick news, but if you want to see every single trailer and all the details of what were displayed at the show, head to RealGamerNewz.com. We've got a 3,000 word write-up on it and every trailer. All right? So, thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep it real, keep it gaming. Peace. And now for the quick news. What's up, everybody? For today's quick news, we're going to go through some of the finer points of the Xbox or the live presentation. Starting off with release dates.
Now, this could be the reason why we did not give them an A+, rather we gave them just the A. A lot of this stuff does not have release dates yet. I mean, there's still time, a lot of time in the year, a lot of time before the new consoles launch, and there's still August to do another event, maybe September, and then we have Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom. There's still time for this stuff to get dates. It doesn't mean they're gonna leave it without a date for so long, but it would have been nice to get these dates during the show. Fable, to be announced. Halo Infinite, Holiday 2020. Avowed, to be announced. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Optimization, to be announced 2020. Tell Me Why. August 27th, 2020, we'll get the first chapter. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, to be announced. Warhammer 40k Darktide, to be announced in the year 2021. Tetris Effect Connected, Optimization plus new multiplayer, Holiday 2020. Peril on Gorgon, The Outer Worlds DLC, September 9th, 2020. The Gunk, to be announced. The Medium, 2021. State of Decay 3, to be announced. Forza Motorsport, to be announced. Everwild, to be announced. Grounded, July 28th, 2020 on Xbox Game Preview. As Dusk Falls, to be announced. Psychonauts, to be announced. Destiny 2 Beyond Light, November 10th, 2020. Phantasy Star Online 2, New Genesis, 2021. And Crossfire X, 2020. For Destiny 2, news and optimizations were delivered at this event. Destiny 2 is coming to Xbox Game Pass. It's an optimized version for Xbox Series X with 4K resolution and 60 frames per second, with ultra textures and effects. Destiny 2 Beyond Light, adding new content, free for Xbox Game Pass. All previous Destiny 2 DLC, also free with Xbox Game Pass, and it's all coming November 10th, 2020. There's a rumor that Xbox Series X is to release 1 week before PlayStation 5. A release date was leaked for Yakuza Like a Dragon on Microsoft's digital game store, revealing that the Xbox Series X will release November 12, 2020, and that we also have rumors that the PlayStation 5 could be available as soon as November 21, 2020. Many analysts believe the game would actually be available a day ahead of the console, stating that they believe the Xbox Series X will release November 13, 2020. This could be plausible in theory. I personally believe that Sony may opt for November 20th, 2020 to release the PlayStation 5 because of the strong marketing to show 2020 in the advertising somehow. If pulled off properly, it could have a mesmerizing effect on consumers. November 20th, 2020 is a Friday for potential PS5 release. November 13th, 2020 is also a Friday for potential Xbox Series X release. That adds to the likelihood since consoles are normally released on closer to a weekend. These are not confirmed by any means and are merely rumors, but they are possible release dates which could end up being announced sooner than later, especially if we think that people are in the staff role actually leaking. Xbox Series X will launch in Japan during 2020. Traditionally, Xbox consoles have not launched in Japan until after they have been in North America and European markets first. This, paired with the fact that the Phantasy Star Online 2 is getting completely new overhaul and content stream with the Xbox Series X exclusive Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, Japanese gamers may take a higher interest in Xbox this time around. PSO2 has been a Japan-only action MMORPG based on the original Dreamcast PSO MMO, which took the world by storm. Thanks to Microsoft, it looks like the English-speaking gamers will finally get to enjoy the title to its fullest potential, while Japanese gamers will also be benefiting from the reinvigorated development of new content of the game, as well as intense 4K 60 frames per second and power speed improvements to the game thanks to the Xbox Series X optimization taking place. During the pre-show, Square Enix released Balan Wonderland trailer from the creators of Sonic and Knights. It's an all-new 3D action platformer created by Yuji Naka and Nato Oshima. 12 different tales await players in the bizarre and imaginary world of Balan Wonderworld. The game releases spring 2021 from Square Enix. And although it debuts on Xbox Series X, it'll also be available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. And last but absolutely not least, throughout the week, there will be Xbox game demos all week, thanks to Geoff Keighley, who wanted to make sure that the part where we get to play games that have not come out yet still happens this year, even though there's no E3 and there's no physical events to go to, like there's no PAX and stuff like that. So Geoff Keighley actually reached out to Microsoft and was able to bring this Xbox event to our homes. So hop onto the Xbox store, You'll be seeing stuff like Grounded is available July 28th, for example, an Xbox game preview. And we should have around 60 game demos releasing on the Xbox Store. I'm not sure if they're going to keep them up there permanently. They probably would, but they might just be for this week for the event, so don't miss out. And they're mostly going to be indie games, so definitely give some unique and rare games you might not have otherwise tried a shot. And now it's time for RGN Analysis, where we break down one industry topic per day. Don't forget to check out our Discord! Link in the description!
Alright everybody, for this RGN analysis, we're actually going to review that Xbox event which just took place, the July showcase for Xbox 2020. Okay, so first of all, I think that Xbox deserves huge credit for debuting the first ever 4K 120 frames per second game. That's Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The Xbox Series X version will be optimized for free upgrade, and the confirmation that the title will be using fully maxed out Ultra HD textures. So full 4K textures, it's 2D like side scroller, so probably not going to be using ray tracing, but pretty much as much as a 2D game would get for effects, all the effects are cranked up to the max. Anti-aliasing is going to be a big one there, and special lighting and stuff that they use in 2D games. Incredible game, highly recommend it. Whether you play it on Xbox One or Xbox One X or Series X, definitely try that game out. But anyways, back on track here. Highly recommend that game. Xbox deserves credit for showing the first 4K 120 frames game. Until now, it's just been theory. And let's see here. And other important games have made the 4K 60 frames per second benchmark. And I think that's very important, deserves a lot of credit for that. And it's a great spread of games across a different variety of genres. And the order that they put them in is actually very important. That's one thing I was noticing. The main problem with most digital events is that the order of announcements or presentations are not correct lately. And this July one has been much better. A lot of companies are holding back right now, and that's hurting presentations. This presentation had 5 new first-party games. 9 out of 15 Xbox studios were there and showing, so that means that we've still got 6 more studios to show stuff off for August. And there were 10 world premiere trailers, 22 console launch exclusives, that's including limited timed exclusives and stuff like that. So some stuff will come out on Xbox first, PlayStation later, whereas other games are coming on Xbox and PC and never going on PlayStation. And then we've got their entire showing of this show was available on Xbox Game Pass. So if you watch the show, or if you're watching our recaps and go to RealGamerNewz.com and you'll see the full every single trailer, you will see that all those games that you saw are available on Xbox Game Pass. That's crazy. You don't really have to buy games anymore if you go Xbox. So there will be 100 plus Xbox Series X optimized games at launch. And that includes some older games they're going to remix and upgrade to the full experience of Xbox Series X optimization with the SSD and everything for Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Sea of Thieves, and more. That's going to be free for the Xbox Game Pass version, the disc version, and the digital version. So they're smart delivery. So however you own those games, they're going to be getting upgraded for the next gen version for free. And Microsoft also confirmed multiple 4K 60 frame per second games with ray tracing on, including Forza Motorsport, which is an untitled next-gen game that they're working on right now. It's not done yet. Destiny 2 Beyond Light, Halo Infinite, and you can expect a lot more to be confirmed as press releases and interviews are published continuously throughout the day. Microsoft let us know that they have more to come this year, and we're hoping that means August. So overall, plenty of great announcements. Fable's back. Halo Infinite looks amazing. It looks exactly like what everybody wants, which is a classic Halo feeling type of game. And they didn't focus too much on their usual franchises. They brought out a bunch of new stuff. The Gunk, The Medium, Avowed, the brand new IP from Obsidian, and a bunch of other games. And they brought out the first 4K 120 frames per second game. Now listen, here's the thing. If this was the only event that they showed for the year, if this was their June E3, I would say this might be like a B- or a C+ territory, okay? But the thing is, you have to grade these things and expectations set yourself up for these things, knowing that they're splitting them into 3 or possibly 4 or more pieces throughout the year. They have always had Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show later. So there's always been a little extra chunk left over. But in this case, what would have been the actual E3 presentation is taking place over a June, July, August type of event. And they might even push a little piece of that to September just to get a lot of extra marketing closer to the game's announcement and the console going for sale. So what that means is we're giving this an A because it's just a third of their presentation. Great job, Microsoft. We really look forward to seeing what Sony does next now that Microsoft has shown off some of their more important announcements and bigger announcements. We hope to see Xbox come with a strong August event to answer that as well. Thanks for checking out Real Gamer News today. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new here. Ring the bell if you feel like it. We don't care. It's all up to you. And thank you once again for checking out this video. Hit up RealGamerNewz.com for the full list of everything you've seen here today. And until next time, keep it real and keep it gaming. Peace. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the community comments. On the last show, we talked about the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X, and we talked about the different experts and what they think about it so far. And we have some comments on that. Scott Holt says, Ubisoft has confirmed the PlayStation 5 will not run on 4K, 60 frames. We don't know for sure about that. They seem to be saying that one of their games is going to run at 30 frames, and we do assume that that's because they want full HDR, full ray tracing, Ultra HD textures, probably not spending a lot of time optimizing it because they want to release it as soon as possible, possibly even at launch or during the launch period. So I would say that the rumors out there for what you're talking about, that is true. It's the rumor that the PlayStation 5 might have a harder time bringing it all the way to 4K 60 and that the Xbox may be able to get that done better with the extra 2 teraflops of processing. But there are others that believe that's a hoax, that's not true, and that it's just Ubisoft struggling with one game does not prove everything. So that the PlayStation 5 has its own architecture and its own powerful throughput, which are going to be able to do it just fine for other games. It's just that Ubisoft doing it that way. So we don't know yet. Time will tell on that one, obviously. We're going to find out. We're going to have to get both consoles and compare them side by side. And experts like Digital Foundry and stuff are going to let the world know what their findings are. We're going to look towards them for that, of course, because they got the raw facts and data every time. Z-Force Simulation Racing says, SSD does not make games look and play great. Power does. Okay, so that sort of relates to the previous issue. We don't know yet. SSD is definitely important. Power is definitely important. I say why not have both? Okay, so and I think that both consoles kind of have both. So I think we're okay. We're on for a good track. We're looking on track for a good generation. Dead Storm says, in fact, SSD can make games better. PS5 has teraflops, blah, blah, do your homework, kid. Yep, so he's just replying, okay, I guess there was a little bit of a flame war last episode. Guys, try to be nice to each other in the comments, please. And we have Midnight Blue on my last Nintendo video where I called it my thoughts on Nintendo's mini directs. And he says, why did you put mini in quotations? And to be honest, I haven't the foggiest clue, mate.
And now for the good news, where we give you today's positive side of gaming.
Today in the good news, non-profit gaming charities have announced that charity donations this year have been twice as high as the on-record history. From January to June, the United States has brought in $1.7 billion in aid during the current situation, which is a 46% increase in dollars compared to the same period last year. They doled out 330,000 separate grants, which represent the fastest pace in history. The last 6 months have been incredibly challenging, and we are inspired by donors utilizing their advised efforts to fund communities and nonprofits invested by health, economic, and social crisis. And thank you for the gaming for helping to make that possible, and all the gamers who do the charity streams and everything like that, and everybody who donates. And to find out how you can support, hit the link in our description today.
Thanks for checking out today's video. Like and subscribe and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on future videos. Peace.
Xbox.